I want to give you your flowers because I think that what you're doing is so amazing for a multitude of reasons, right? Like, one, because it's just freaking awesome. Like, but it's also just so amazing to see your talent and to see you take the initiative to be like, you know what? I'm not waiting for somebody to give me a chance. I'm going to make a way for myself. I'm going to share the gifts that God has given me. And I'm gonna just do what it does. And what however it lands is however it lands, but I'm gonna just pursue it and push it. And it's really inspiring as a creative to witness that, but especially to witness that around someone in your own circle. Because I don't know
Mm.
about you, but it like puts a battery in my back to be like, hey, this girl that I've known since kindergarten did this. Kindergarten, you know, what were we like 6? I don't know. Yeah, maybe
That's way too old for kindergarten.
this was like 5, 5.
Let's never
Let's
tell
never talk about
anybody you were 6 in kindergarten.
that.
We started kindergarten before both of our birthdays because I school started before my birthday.
You're right. You're right. So
So
we would
yeah.
have been 4, turning
Hmm.
5. Then, okay, let me just stop trying to go backwards and do that
Yeah.
math. That's not my strong suit. But
We're 30 years deep.
it's
That's
crazy. That's Shanae always used to say, she's like, oh my God, our friendship is longer than most people's marriages. But you and
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
we're in game,
We're
baby.
deep.
30 years. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm.
That's crazy. Yeah, when you put it in perspective like that, it doesn't feel like that long. Like
No, it doesn't.
I'm 34 now. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
I've
Because
actually been telling people I'm 35 all year. So
just
I
preparing them.
kind of, yeah, I'm aging myself.
That's real. Like, it's the fact that I thought that once we got to this age that we would, I can't speak for you, that I would feel like an adult, but I feel even more like a child than I did when I was a child. I'm like, I don't, when am I supposed to feel like I know what I'm doing and I'm not just like throwing spaghetti noodles at the wall waiting for something to stick? Like, what is,
Absolutely. I don't feel any older than I did when I was like 15, 16 years old. Genuinely. Like most days I wake up and I'm like, I think I'm still 15.
yes.
Like I don't think there's ever actual or an actual point in time where you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm a full functioning adult. Like it does not happen that way. And you always hear like old people say like, oh, it's how you feel in here. And it really is. Like
Mm-hmm.
mentally, if you still feel 20, 25, and of course you have to make those decisions as like a
Mm-hmm.
34-year-old. Like you can't do this anymore. Like, I fell down the steps 2 weeks ago at my uncle's house, and my ankle was so like my whole left leg was fried. And I'm like, bro, I'm old. I never would have been out of the commission for that long if this happened like 10 years ago. We're not at a stage where, I can't do certain things anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to make those decisions, which is very hard mentally, when you're like, wait a minute, I really want to do this. I really want to do A, but I
Mm-hmm.
know I need to do B because
Mm-hmm.
if I do A, I may end up in jail.
That part. That part. I'm like, I'm gonna get charged as an adult. This is
Yeah, yeah. And that's never going to work out for me.
no,
That's never
no.
going to work out for me.
That keeps me, I think about just the sanitation issue. And I'm like, Jeslyn, you don't like germs. Remember that. No matter what these
Having to
people say
use
to
the
you.
bathroom like in front of somebody, no, absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
Even just like imagine people go to jail for like a night and like for like 18 hours, do you not use the bathroom? I wouldn't use the bathroom
No.
because it's like 20 people in a holding cell. No, thank you.
Mm-mm.
It's never going to happen. This is never
No.
going to happen. I'm sorry.
I think I would just pass away. Like, oh well, I guess I just have to die now because I don't do
I'd go
this.
on the run. I'd go
You'll never catch me alive.
do your job, come and find me because
Yes.
no, I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Mm, absolutely not. But
No.
yeah, it's definitely an interesting experience because, as we said, when mentally you're not completely there, but you have to make a conscious decision every single day to be an adult.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's all down to like choices, which actually brings us to why we're here today. Like just the
Mhm.
choices that we make in life. And especially what we choose to do when life
Mm,
starts lifing, right? Like there's always the option of just giving up,
yeah,
that seems to be the easy option. Or you can choose to turn the lemons that life gives you into lemonade, lemon
yeah.
meringue pie, which I know that you could do both because you're multi-talented. Okay. Yes. Yes. So,
Fuck that. This is
exactly.
what the kids are doing nowadays.
Exactly. Yes. Because clock it. We love a multi-talented, multifaceted queen here. So I want to
Mhm.
kind of start off. Actually, I want to start off with introducing who you are because I could just run my mouth and talk to you because hey, we've known each other for forever. But I want to give
Yes,
everybody else the pleasure of meeting you.
I am Simone James. I am the creator and the showrunner of According to Ryan. And According to Ryan is an animated series where I also voice the character of Ryan and a few other characters. But yeah, I tell stories about Black women navigating the messiness of life, try to make it funny and with a lot of heart.
Yes, yes, I love it. I mean, the fact that you said try to make it funny, naturally, you're hilarious. Okay.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
I think you were hilarious before you knew you were hilarious. And then once you knew that you were hilarious, it just was just up from there. And just speaking on according to Ryan, it's resonated with so many, especially for me,
Mhm.
people in our circle, even people that you know we don't know, because I'll be watching them comments, honey. I'll be ready to go to war. Um, but I'm just kind of curious about like what was the initial spark for creating Ryan's story?
Mhm.
Um, and was she based on anyone in particular or like a culmination of experiences?
Yeah, According to Ryan was absolutely based on a culmination of my personal experience and just things that I've seen through
Mhm.
life. People close to me go through just what we see in like the current climate. I was actually let go from a position that I was at for almost 5 years.
Mhm.
And that was back in March of 2024. So over a year now. And that was really what kind of sparked this entire story. Just dealing with that. And again, like you see this current like job market and the political climate and how tough it is for people. I
Mhm.
felt like now was the perfect time to kind of just tell this story.
Perfect. I mean, that makes so much sense. And again, I think that's why it resonates with so
Hmm.
many people because it's realistic. Like, despite the fact that it's animated, it's like this is a real storyline. People can see themselves in the character, which I think is perfect, versus this kind of caricature that we
Hmm.
see in like just our modern day TV shows. It's like people want real stuff. They don't want this falsehood. People are searching for meaning and connection. But well, with that being said, how did you decide on animation as the medium for According to Ryan, and especially for a platform like TikTok?
And this is funny because it came to me while I was sleeping. I was
Okay.
trying to sleep. And in my time in LA, I lived in LA for almost 12 years.
Hmm.
Um, I did work with like smaller productions from people who were just like me, that were literally just trying to carve a lane out in the industry.
Mhm.
And some of that work was animation. I did scripts for them. I did some voiceover acting. And I never actually imagined any of my work being animated. That's never really been my interest.
Mhm.
And I've never had an interest in television. I've always wanted to do feature films.
Mhm.
So when the idea came to me, I kind of second guessed it because I'm like, this isn't, it's not me, like it's not something that I ever envisioned myself doing. So it was foreign to me in that sense. And I'm not an illustrator.
Mhm.
So it threw me for a loop. But I felt like TikTok was a great platform,
Mhm.
is a great platform to post short form content and really build a following and connect with people. And I'm still very new to TikTok, and which is I'm late to the party, obviously. But I knew that much, that it was a great platform to like post that short form content, which is why my videos started off fairly short, like
Mhm.
they were under like 5 minutes,
Mhm.
because I wanted to connect with the audience immediately. And I
Mhm.
think, according to Ryan, did a good job of doing that.
Yeah, it did a great job of doing that, and it's crazy because the fact that you're saying that they were under 5 minutes and it didn't feel like that. Like
Mm,
so much was packed in, not in a sense of in an overwhelming way, but just like there's so much juicy goodness. There's so much
mhm.
like story in less than 5 minutes. And that's like insane. When you have
Yeah.
whole shows that could have like 20, 30 minutes, an hour, you're like, well, what just happened? Like what was in here?
Hmm.
I think that's amazing of what you've been able to accomplish within such a short time frame. I also think it's perfect because of the fact of like most people's attention span. Like for they talk about it constantly, like our people's attention span has become short and people have been able to lock in to the episodes that you have delivered thus far, which I think is really amazing. Um, so you had mentioned earlier about the fact that you voice Ryan along with other characters. And so how do you approach bringing these different characters to life through your voice? And what's that creative process like, especially for someone that never saw themselves doing what you're doing right now?
Honestly, voicing Orion and like other characters, it's absolutely a challenge because each one has their own energy and rhythm. So with Ryan, I always tap into her inner monologues. Like if you watch the show, you'll notice there's a lot of voiceovers.
Mhm.
There's a lot of fourth wall breaks. So the overthinking and the humor and those like moments of vulnerability, I make sure that comes through even in like her smallest reactions.
Mhm.
And for Kendall and Kiana, who are voiced by my cousin
Mhm.
and another one of my best friends,
Mhm.
it's about capturing their like specific attitude. I wrote Kendall to be quick and, like witty and stylish.
Mhm.
And Kiana's more grounded. She has an East Coast vibe. She's based in New York.
Mhm.
So before recording, I'll read through the script like I'm watching it unfold in my head,
Mhm.
almost like storyboarding with my voice.
Okay.
And I think about how they sit and the gesture, or even like sighing in a moment. And I think that when I record, I let those physicalities kind of guide the delivery.
Okay.
It keeps them feeling distinct and real, which is really important when it comes to animation. And
Mhm.
like as you said earlier, it feels very real, and that's like what I wanted to accomplish. Like I want this to feel like, yes, you're watching an animation, you're watching a cartoon, but I want this to feel very real. I don't want you to sit and think the entire time like, oh, this is just an animation. I want that storyline to come across like real and personal. So it's honestly one of my favorite parts of the process because I get to fully like embody these personalities that I've created.
I think that's really cool. As you were talking about it, it made me think of the movie Split and the character. Oh,
Oh.
with the one that, what I'm talking, like,
Yeah,
and
he
how you
does
just
like
speak it.
9 different characters. Yeah. Like I'm not an actor either. But I hold them in high regard, especially when people can do things like that. Like it's tough. It's
Yeah.
not something that, people think you just like read these lines, especially when it comes to voice acting.
Hmm.
It can appear as though it's easier because there's no pressure because people aren't seeing your face.
Yeah.
They just hear your voice, but there's a lot that goes into it. And thankfully, nobody has like any like genuine accents or has to like
Hmm.
change their voice in my show. So, that helps out a lot, but there's a lot that goes into it. And yeah, I'm thankful for everybody who does voice acting for me because it's not a tough job, yourself included, because you do voice the character of Elise St. John. So kudos.
I mean, like when you talk about giving your tilting your hat, tipping your hat over to like actors, I'm like, oh, this is actually extremely difficult. Like
Hmm.
never realizing how much I relied on nonverbal cues to convey a
Hmm.
message, and the fact that when you're voice acting, there is no nonverbal cues. Everything is
Hmm.
through it's some type of sound, whether it's like as
Hmm.
you mentioned, like a sigh or saying
Hmm.
something a certain way. And I'm like, oh, this is hard. Like I'm not
Yeah.
gonna I'll take back all the
Yep.
shade that I ever had for anybody for any particular role because this is not easy. This is actually
Mm-mm.
quite difficult.
Yeah. But I think everyone that I have who does like voice acting for a character, they've
Mhm,
done like a really good job.
mhm,
Everybody is new. They're completely new to, doing this. This
mhm,
is all friends and family that are just
mhm,
like helping me out. These aren't actual like professionals.
mhm.
So I genuinely appreciate everybody for taking the time to do it and like doing it very well. I very rarely have to like give direction, or I've never had to replace anybody because it's not working out. Like I think everybody's doing great because
Yeah, I
you can get
know.
cut
You'd be like,
quick.
oh, cut, cut, next,
You
next
can get
person.
cut quick. And when I do have to like give direction, everybody who does do voice a character, they take the direction very well. It's like an immediate, like I'm like, I think that if you say it this way, and I do think that's a big part of, being a creator and a showrunner. Like you have to be able to guide this actor in a way that, like, okay, if you're not exactly hitting your mark, I need to be able to guide you to the point where you are exactly hitting this mark. And that's also like a really tough job because I have to find that medium as a Virgo.
Yeah, you
I
like,
like things are real particular. I'm like, dude, listen to what I'm telling
listen to what I'm
you.
saying. I have a vision. It's giving Beyonce like, black
Yeah.
girls don't look right under blue light. Like, what are you doing?
Mm-mm.
I don't feel like
Yeah.
I should give you any more notes because the notes that I gave before weren't applied.
You're not applying them. Apply the notes. Okay.
I think for me, like when you came back and gave me that feedback the first time I did voiceover, I was like, oh wow. Like I already again having a front row seat to your storytelling and your humorous type of just spirit and the way that you deliver your messages, things, whether it's intentional or not. At that moment, I was like, wow, look at my friend. Like
Mm-hmm.
I the purpose was there. I was like, okay, cool. Let me clock in because I
Mm-hmm.
can't let my girl down. Like this is not a game. Jeslyn, this is not a game. Get it together.
Let me lock in.
Let me
Lock
lock in.
in.
Because
Yeah.
she's not playing. This is serious. And I think it's
Yeah.
amazing. What I love the most about it is it reminds me of like Issa Rae and how she reaches across versus
Hmm.
reaching up.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I love that because so often, at least on social media, you'll see people and they're just trying to like, let me network with people that are up above me and let me just keep pulling up, and maybe I'll kick that ladder off behind me so nobody else can come. But to
Mhm.
see someone that has had that experience of being on both coasts, working with different people, working in different environments, and saying like, hey, I'm still going to use the people that are around me. Like
Mhm.
I want to include them in my vision. Was that intentional? Like, was there thought about that, or was it like there was no other thought? These are the people. This is who I'm going to reach out to.
It was really intentional. I think that I learned from my time in LA, and being a fan of Issa Rae, that
Mhm.
it's really important to reach across. And the people that are closest to you will always show up for you. I found that I have a really reliable support system. And so there was like no second guessing. There was no question. Kiana, she's voiced by my cousin.
Mhm.
Um, I hit her up and she was like, send me the lines.
Mhm.
I had them back within the hour. Like it was just, it was, everybody was like on top of their job. Even with you, you were like, yes, absolutely. I love it. So I think it's really important to use the resources in the community that you have. As you said, a lot of people try and like constantly like reach up, and it doesn't always work that way. I'm
Mhm.
not saying it doesn't work for some people,
Mhm.
but it doesn't always work that way. And I think when you just take the time to look around you, you'll see that more times than not, a lot of people in your circle and your community are aligned with you and aligned with your purpose for a reason. Just got to like really look at it that way. Um, and yeah, I had the opportunity to use my friends and family, and they came through. And yeah, there was no real like second guessing to that.
I I love that. I think people also sometimes they think, especially when it comes to like pursuing your dreams or doing
Hmm.
something that hasn't been done before, like they're thinking it has to be convoluted or everything has to like be perfect or in a specific way or a specific path. And I love the fact that you've kind of turned that on its head and like, hey, like this is where I'm at, this is what I have, and these are the people that are going to help me get there.
Hmm.
Um, and kind of with that kind of thought process, and even with your own experience of just like kind of being laid off and stuff like that, like why was it important for you to kind of like explore those themes of like resilience and self-discovery and starting over in this series?
I think that I really wanted to tell a story that felt honest, about what it means to hit reset in your 30s,
Mhm.
especially as a Black woman. I think we're just beginning to talk about that a little bit more.
Mhm.
You see a lot of things, like, especially being on TikTok, you see people's story times about how, things don't work out. And I think when you're younger, especially when you're in your 20s,
Mhm.
30s is presented to you as like, oh, you're gonna have it all together. Yeah, everything is gonna be perfect. Like the roaring 20s
Mhm.
are over now.
Mhm.
And that is not how it is. Life is just up and down, and things happen. And
Yeah.
you have to be able to pivot and like roll with the punches.
Mhm.
And as I stated, it's something I'm personally dealing with. I know a lot of the other people as well, especially when I was still in Los Angeles. So many people, it was like one friend after another was dealing with unemployment, couldn't find a job.
Okay.
And again, this current job market and political climate is very tough.
Mhm.
It's hard on a lot of people, especially people, you know, millennials and the younger generation, Gen Z, and who knows what life will look like for Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are being like forced to reevaluate what they want out of life.
Mhm.
And Ryan's layoff wasn't really just about losing a job. Um, it's about losing that sense of stability and the identity that the job gave her,
Mhm.
and having to rebuild from scratch. So many of us have been there.
Yeah.
Um, and you're constantly wondering if we're too late. Like, we're turning 35 this year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're good enough, or if the dream is even worth it, which I have immensely struggled with. Like, I didn't go the traditional route with
Mhm.
screenwriting. I didn't go to film school. um I'm not educated in that sense.
Mhm.
So that's tough to deal with. That's a whole nother thing to deal with. But
Mhm.
I think by exploring the resilience and self-discovery, I wanted to show that like starting over doesn't have to be glamorous to be
Mhm.
powerful.
Mhm.
It's absolutely extremely messy.
Mhm.
It's funny at times, and a lot of the times it's painful, but it's also where like that growth happens. So
Yeah.
I think Ryan's journey is really about finding the courage to bet on yourself, even when it feels like those odds are kind of like stacked against you.
I think, first of all, there's a couple little gems in there. There's a couple of gems that you was dropping. I love it. I just think it's just so amazing. And this is not just me like blowing smoke up your ass because like you're the oldest friendship I have, outside of my mama, but that don't count because she grew me.
Right.
She has no choice. I want to touch on like one thing you said about like not even going the traditional route. I find, and it's not to say that there's not to knock any schooling or formal education, but I
Mhm,
do find, especially if you have to, like if you're getting it out the mud, there's also a beauty and a freedom to that because you're not being told this is how you're supposed to think, this is how you're supposed to approach it. I feel like there's more
mhm,
innovation because you don't necessarily have the tools that you would have been given
mhm.
in formal education, but it doesn't mean that the tools that you're using also can't still get you to the same end result.
Yep.
I almost think it's like a brainchild or like for like creativity. Like it's creativity in its most like rawest, purest form because there
Mhm,
aren't any limits. It's just like this is the limits are basically what your brain like where your brain stops at.
mhm.
So I do want to kind of dig deeper into that and just see if you can like or if you feel comfortable with like walking us through like your typical process for creating an episode of According to Ryan from script writing to final animation.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, each episode, like, it starts with an outline.
Mm-hmm.
And then I use the outline to start the script.
Okay.
So that's really where the heart of According to Ryan lives.
Okay.
I start by thinking about Ryan's like emotional arc, and what themes I want to explore in that episode, and then building the comedy and slice of life moments around that.
Okay.
So once the script is locked, I visualize the scenes almost like storyboards in my head, and then you have to frame the shots,
Mm-hmm.
which is difficult, but it's fun nonetheless. And thinking about lighting and the mood, and then the pacing of the episode, all of that plays in. And from there, it kind of moves into design. So creating or refining character looks in the outfits
Mm-hmm.
and environments, to keep the world feeling cohesive and stylish and real, because that's really important. It's something that, we keep having in this conversation, because I did want this animation to feel very real, which is I use real life outfit. Like I do all the costuming for
Mhm,
the episode. Um, and I love that, and I try and highlight as many like black owned brands as
mhm,
possible.
mhm,
That's something I'm really passionate about. So, once that is all together, the animation comes next, which is like
mhm,
bringing those still images to life with movement and
mhm,
expressions and energy, and then having to edit all of those animations together.
mhm,
um, and finally, I'll just like review the full episode. I add in music, which I think is also very, very important to
yes,
the story. That's something that people love. I love.
mhm,
So I always make sure that that's on point. Um, and sound design to elevate the mood
mhm,
and just make sure every detail feels like really intentional, because it is. And it's really just a collaborative process, but I love it. Every step feels like world building. You're like
mhm.
layering all the personality and humor and emotion into like every single frame.
Yeah, I mean, my mind is like blown because that's so, again, people look at the finished product and just like, oh my God, I love it. I want more. Give me like
Hmm.
20 more episodes. But as I'm listening to you describe all this stuff, that's so much work. Like, there's
Hmm.
so much, like, this piece has to fit here, this piece has to fit here, and this piece has to fit. Like, everything is building upon itself. So, like the question that comes to mind is like, how do you balance putting all this work and effort and intentionality into building and cultivating like According to Ryan with also just like taking care of yourself and like staying sane, or maybe staying adjacent in this climate that we're dealing.
It is definitely hard. I think that I see a lot of it as like a blessing that I have this free time on my
Hmm.
hands, um, because I'm able to put my all into this, which
Hmm.
is why I think it turns out the way that it does. Um, but I think a big part of me, like just balancing my self-care and with like building this entire world. Um, it's just remembering that if I'm not well taken care of, the show won't be.
Hmm.
And that involves like me taking breaks for myself. Like
Hmm.
I initially planned to do a 20 episode season.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I think that I may be pushing that limit just a little bit.
Hmm.
Because as soon as I finish one episode, I'm working on the next.
Okay.
So it was 10 weeks of nonstop work, and actually a little bit longer, maybe like 12 weeks, because I was working on trailers
Hmm.
and just building everything before I even released the first episode, which was like everything happened very quickly. Like I got the idea, I started working on it that night that I got the idea. I was up
Okay.
all night. And that had to have been like 3 or 4 weeks before I even released the first episode.
Okay.
So yeah, I think taking breaks, being really intentional about my mental health
Hmm.
and just like constantly checking in with myself to see how I am.
Hmm.
That's really how I balance that, and just making sure if I'm good, like the show will be good. I can't do anything if I'm not operating at like 100%.
Oh, that makes sense. And that's a good point for any of you, all of you, however many of you that are listening. That's important.
Mhm.
Like so much we'll see this like grind culture, but like rest is necessary to be able
Mhm.
to pursue whatever you're trying to pursue, whether it's working for somebody else, whether it's working for yourself. Like if you go down, you're not going to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. So you have to
Exactly.
like, you either prioritize it yourself or your body will prioritize it for you.
Hmm.
So like that's awesome. The fact that you constantly check in with yourself, and even the fact
Hmm.
that you made that decision to go from like 20 episodes. You say, actually, no, this might be a little bit too much. And I think that that was perfect because it's like, hey, it gives people, this is your introduction, but you want more, you got to tune back in for season 2. I think that that's
Yes.
amazing how that worked out.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a definitely because I was like, all right, because it was animated and it was short,
mhm,
I was thinking like, okay, I could do way more, but that was at the point where I wasn't even aware of how much effort went into it.
mhm, okay.
So at the point where I was like, oh, okay, this takes a lot more work
Mhm,
than I was even like aware of. Like I have to scale back and I have to really create like a plan that will keep it going,
yeah,
because you don't want to I would get burnt out. 20
yes.
episodes a season, like I'd be burnt out. It'd be nonstop work, no breaks. So it wasn't realistic.
Yeah, especially for that to be like all of that effort and workload on your shoulders
Hmm.
squarely. Yeah, that's it's I think even if initially when you had that thought, like it wasn't like that, but it's just the way. It's funny how God works. It's just like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, we're gonna pull this back. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, let's
I
pull this
like what
back.
you're doing. I
Yeah,
like how you're thinking.
exactly. But let's uh let's
Let's
start
pull it
here.
back. Yeah.
Let's start here first, and then we
Yeah.
can take over the world tomorrow. What they say,
Hmm.
even he rested on the seventh day. It's very important to rest.
Yes.
So I also
And
want to
and
like,
mama likes her sleep, so
hello. Sleep is
I like.
important.
Okay, thank you.
Sleep
Thinking
is
about all the
important.
naps that I fought when I was a child.
Oh
I
my God.
need those back.
Please. Oh my God. If I could tell a child anything but take naps. Okay.
Take your naps, or
Sleep
you're
as much
gonna
as you
miss
can.
them.
You'll miss them because you don't,
Mhm.
there are times when you are
Yeah.
desperate to sleep. And it's like, no. Um, so I want to also, okay, I mentioned it earlier, but one of the other things that I love about the According to Ryan series is also the commentary from like your
Mm,
audience, where people just like, okay, hold up, you are you watching my life? Like, do you have a camera filming me at like every moment of the day? Because there's a couple times in there I was like, this is triggering. Okay, I need a
mhm.
warning this is reminding me of some moments. And I think that's also why it's built the following that it has. So
Yeah.
in your thoughts or from your perspective, like what do you think it is about Ryan's journey that resonates so deeply with your audience on, and we don't have to just limit it to TikTok because it's now also on YouTube as well, and it's also on Instagram. So you just say, what do you think about Ryan's journey that resonates so deeply just across the different platforms?
Yeah. I think that Ryan really resonates because she's figuring it out in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Just like so many of us. And I really envision Ryan as like ambitious and funny and
Mm-hmm.
stylish, but she's also broke and overthinking and making mistakes, and just like so many of us. So that like mix of confidence and chaos feels very real.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on TikTok, especially, that is a platform where people are drawn to authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan's journey, I think she captures that well. It's not the like overnight success story. It's about that like awkward, uncertain middle ground where you're trying to rebuild your life and like chase your dreams at the same time, which again, we all can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people see themselves in that resilience and the humor and even her spirals. It reminds them that they're not alone in her process, in their own process.
Yeah, I definitely that makes sense. It also reminds me like kind of like picking on like Issa Rae and especially like the Insecure series when she would have those sessions with her like in the mirror, her and herself.
Yeah.
And that's what like those like that internal monologue, that internal commentary. I'm like, yeah, that's accurate. Like that's really on point. And it's also just inspiring because like again, like you can see yourself in this character. And depending on how you choose to look at life or even choose to look at that situation, you can see a person basically doing their best to try to make the best out of an unfortunate situation, like a situation that they had no control over, and still choosing
Hmm.
to kind of continue on and just figure it out day by day. And some days it's a lot easier, and other days it's like you're pulling yourself across asphalt, just trying to get to the next
Yeah.
checkpoint.
That pulling yourself across asphalt is a great way to describe it because Lord Jesus, I mean, honestly, like I said, I lost my job in March 2024.
Hmm.
So on top of, you know, that, and I do like freelance work. Like,
Hmm.
like I make an income, but nothing close to what I was making like when I was like fully employed.
Hmm.
And chasing your dreams is expensive.
Yeah.
And people, as much as like you can use, what you have and, ask for help from friends and family in the way that I do, where, like I don't pay anybody to do the voice acting.
Hmm.
Um, there's still other costs that happen, like animation costs.
Hmm.
So it's really day in and day out, like when times are very, very hard
Hmm.
and you're like, damn, how am I going to get this next episode done?
Hmm.
Like, and I thank God, because I feel like every time I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get this next episode done. God's like, here's a little blessing. Like, and so, I think that that's really something where, just like you were saying, like you're pulling yourself across asphalt because you have no idea what the next day is going to hold. Like,
Yeah.
and you just kind of, you have to keep climbing, you have to keep going because you never know. It's like that picture of the people in the tunnels and they're like digging for diamonds.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and like the one that's the closest, just one or two more hits
Hmm.
and the diamonds are going to come flooding in. He gives up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And then the other one that's farther away, he's just like going and going and going. And I look at life like that. Like you never know
Hmm.
when that diamond rush is coming.
That's true. That's
So
true.
you kind of just got to keep like chipping away at it.
Yeah. You gotta keep showing up. Like
Yeah.
I see this trend of like it may, and I could be fully in auntie mode. I do preface, but I'm about to say they be like, ill girl. But I see this trend of like, oh, soft life and this and that. And I get it. I get the
Mm.
premise. Because yes, you want stuff easy. And also at the same time, life ain't never been soft. Not never. Not for us.
Especially not for a Black woman, right?
No, it's like, okay. Even
What
before,
are we talking about?
it's like, let's be realistic, people. Because where in history for anybody, but especially for people that look like us,
Mm-hmm.
life is not soft. Like life is just
No.
life,
Mm-hmm.
and you can either choose not to keep showing up and
Mm-hmm.
there's one outcome you'll experience, or you can choose to keep showing up, choose to keep pulling yourself across that asphalt. And maybe some days it's not high, maybe it's nice,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's smooth, but it's just the fact of like the consistency of like, hey, this is where I have my mindset set on. This is the goal I have in my mind. I'm gonna keep on chipping away at it. And some days the effort isn't the same, and I think that that's also okay. But it's just the fact of not giving up, pursuing something that you say that you want. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's important. And I also, a belief that I have, and so far I've seen it, like when you're doing what you're supposed to be, where you are supposed to be at, when you're aligned, stuff just it figures itself out, you know.
Yeah.
But in that same token, if you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, it doesn't matter. It'll be unnecessarily difficult because that's not where you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be at. And I think that that's also beautiful. Like once you're like, yep, this is where I'm supposed to be, we locked in. It's like a puzzle piece, and then whatever the problems are, they seem to resolve themselves, even if we don't intentionally know how they're going to be, how things are going to figure out.
That's very true. Literally, to your point. Like I said earlier, I had no idea. I kind of second guessed this idea because it's not something that I ever envisioned for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I did it, I did trailers first. I did 2 trailers,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a little bit of traction on TikTok, but it wasn't something like crazy. It
Mm-hmm.
was a few hundred likes. Um, but when I posted that first episode, I only had like 500 or so followers. That
Mm-hmm.
first episode went
I
crazy
remember.
viral, and I got like 14,000 followers over the course of a weekend at 3 days. It was like
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. By Sunday, I had over 14,000 followers. And I knew in that moment that after that first weekend, I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not to say if you do want to do something and it doesn't immediately gain any traction, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But I knew it was like a confirmation. It was a genuine confirmation for me. Like, okay, I did the right thing. Like, I heard God and I did what He wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the
So,
fact that you said that, because in this commentary that I hear about, like they talk about like with millennials or Gen Z, about this instant gratification, right? But I
mhm,
think what you said is so true. Like just because it's not immediately paying off doesn't mean that that's not where you're supposed to be. Like the
mhm,
fact that you said that you had those trailers and you got, some likes, onesie twosies, and then you put out
mhm,
that first episode, and then it's just like, like here's the
mhm,
floodgates. And again, still chipping away, like this, yep, still show up, still do it. Like you may not see it immediately, but that doesn't mean, again, that that's not where you're supposed to be at.
yep,
So like talking about
mm,
like TikTok, and especially just like kind of the short form video format, like, so how do you typically like approach the storytelling in that type of format while also still developing, your complex characters and
mhm.
narratives? Like, do you do it like, hey, here's the whole scene that I want, and then you break it apart to then like maybe there'll be 3 episodes within it, or it's like, hey, each episode and this is the scene.
I think on TikTok you really have to like earn people's attention
Mm-hmm.
within those first few seconds. So I really try to focus on crafting moments that
Okay.
feel cinematic, but like also intimate.
Okay.
So you're like eavesdropping on Ryan's life.
I love
And yeah, like even though the videos are short, I treat every frame like part of a bigger story.
that. Okay.
So the key is really just like layering.
Okay.
I use humor and especially fashion
Mhm.
because The girls love a good outfit. I
Mm-hmm.
learned that early on. They love a good outfit. And relatable situations to draw people in. But
Hmm.
underneath that, I'm always developing the character's emotional arcs.
Okay.
So Ryan's not just funny, she's navigating that self-doubt that we all have, the ambition and, starting over. So by grounding her in those real emotions and giving her like a strong point of view, I think it makes even like a 60-second scene kind of feel like a much bigger world.
Okay. No, that makes perfect sense. And I love the fact of like the layering. And I think also because of the layering, then you can pull out pieces that people
Mhm.
really like. So as you mentioned, the fashion, because
Mhm.
okay, Ryan's closet is
Mhm. Mhm.
amazing. I'm just
Yeah.
like, ooh, I like
Yeah.
this. And I
Yeah.
love how you started having like, I guess not necessarily episodes, but like moments where you're talking about the clothing that
Mhm.
is featured in the episodes, or even or not or and even the music. Because the
Yeah.
music is I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yes, this is
I love a good
amazing.
tune. I love a good fit and I love a good tune. That's one thing you can always count on me for: good music and good outfits. And I think that a big part of TikTok too is recognizing what your audience likes. And I was able to catch on very early that these two things really impacted the audience in a way that I wanted. Like they kept coming back. They were begging for more. People were asking me for a playlist
Mm-hmm.
and like, oh, Ryan is fitted down. Yes, she is. Here's the outfit because it's a real outfit. When I say I do the costuming, I do the costuming. Like I'm gonna tell you where this is at and where you can go purchase it. Go buy it. Okay. And I think that also extends into just trying to really grow
Mm-hmm.
according to Ryan. Because there's so much I think that can be done
Mm-hmm.
with her. And I again I caught on to that very early because people were asking for more of these particular things. And I'm like, I could do something with that. What exactly? Not sure yet, but God's gonna show me and we're gonna
Exactly.
get there.
I think that that's so, especially if it's so awesome anyway, but especially in an animated like
Yeah.
format, right? Because you're used to seeing it when it's like live action, because you can see the clothes, and then on Google, what's that shirt that so and so was wearing in episode this and that? Like the fact that it's based off of real clothing, and the fact that you do the extra legwork to make sure they know where to get it from, I think is
Mhm.
awesome, because you'll see stuff and people will gatekeep things. And it's again, it's
Mhm.
you reaching across, like, hey, not only am
Yeah.
I using my gifts to share, share this just this experience with everybody else,
Mhm.
but also making sure that other people are aware, like other people are benefiting um from this, whether it's from just the life lessons in each episode, or if they want to, upgrade their closet where they can go
Mhm.
to, if they want to like enrich their ears with like new tunes and stuff like that, they can go and watch
Mhm.
the playlist. And I also like, in that same vein, what do you, when you're building out these episodes, when you're sharing, playlists, when you're sharing like the clothing, like what do you hope that the viewers are taking away from according to Ryan, especially those who might be going through similar life transitions?
Yeah. Um, I genuinely hope that according to Ryan reminds people it's okay to start over and that starting over doesn't mean you failed.
Mhm.
Because that's absolutely something I had to deal or had to like figure out myself and I still struggle with sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, I am a very much as a Virgo, I'm like, I can't give up. I'm
Mhm.
like, I can't. And letting go of all of the things that I thought gave me an identity, I
Mhm.
felt like I was failing. Like,
Mhm.
this is me. Like, this is what I do. This is, I've earned this. I've worked so hard for this. And losing all of that doesn't negate the fact that I worked hard for it. And,
Yeah.
it's just, it's time for a new chapter.
Mhm.
Um, and so, yeah, I mean, starting over, it's scary and it's
Mhm.
messy, but it can also be really beautiful. If you're in this season where nothing feels certain, I really want like Ryan's journey to feel like a reminder that you're not alone and that your story isn't over. We don't always get to see Black women on screen just figuring life out with all the answers.
Mhm,
And that was important for me to show. You could be broke and
mhm.
heartbroken and still building something incredible. Like, that's what I want people to take with them. Like, permission to be in progress.
Okay, permission to be in progress because,
Hmm.
ooh,
Yeah.
girl, if you don't put that on the shirt, I will. I'm letting you know now. Anybody that hears it, if you see it, it's whoever moves fast enough. Okay, because I'm a matter of fact. Let me write that down with my pen. Permission to be in progress.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm. It's like being in church and you're listening to a sermon. You was like,
Hmm. Oh, that hit. That was for me. Yeah.
I'm writing it right now.
Hmm.
I'll make sure I'll give you a cut. Wow, like
Hmm.
that's so true, and
Hmm.
especially for our demographic because
Hmm.
we're not allowed to just show up. I told somebody many moons ago, I was like, mediocrity is a privilege. Being mediocre is a privilege that we are not often afforded. We're not
Nope.
allowed to be mediocre.
Mm-mm.
If we're in spaces, we have to be excellent.
Yeah.
There's no in between. You're either a waste or you're a talented 10th.
Hmm.
And I
There's
love
no in between.
there's no in between. And I love the fact that this generation of Black women, especially, are reclaiming that because they're like, hold up, if I want to be
Yeah.
mediocre, one, I can be. All right. Like,
Hmm.
I'm worthy just by showing up.
Yeah.
I'm worthy. My value is also in just me every day and in the in between.
And isn't it like ironic because even then we're being great in our mediocrity?
Girl, girl,
What can't we do?
hello. Because our starting point is still light years ahead. But you know what? I
That's
ain't
a
gonna
whole
go
different.
to. Yeah, this is a whole different conversation. I don't need the trolls coming out. Like, what do you mean? Oh, you see it.
Yeah.
The
That's why you're
evidence.
here.
Hey, hello. That's why you crying, throwing yourself against the wall when certain demographics say, "No, we're not doing this for y'all," because
Exactly.
we are reclaiming our time.
Hmm.
Mm, permission to be in progress. Ooh, girl.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
I kind of ate that.
kind of. And even so, playing on that, your wordplay is insane.
Hmm.
I don't know for anyone else out there, but for me, witnessing now in adulthood and really being able to appreciate my friends, not just because they're my friends, but because they're people, and being
Hmm.
able to fully stand in their presence and their freaking just talent. Because them one-liners that you have in those episodes, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
They
clearly,
hit.
I was not hip to everything that goes up in this brain. Like, wow.
Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
hit. They be like, mm.
It's funny because my brain only like works in like movie references and like lyrics. It's
Gotcha.
like that's constantly like when something happens, I'm like, oh, I have a movie scene for that. Like, I
Mm.
can relate it to a movie scene. It's like if if people knew what I was talking about all the time, they would understand the only thing that comes out of my mouth are like movie references. It's that crazy. So it's like when I'm writing, like the things that pop in my head, like
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like that's corny. Like that's corny because it'll be just like a quick little one liner, but I'm like when I really like sit and like mull over it, I'm like, hmm, I kind of ate that.
Mhm.
I kind of ate that. I think, I've been writing for years. You remember
Mhm.
that notebook with that book? I wish I still had access to that notebook because I would love to
Mhm.
see.
Mhm.
Like, I think I did like what 11 chapters or
Yeah.
something. But I wish that I had access to that so I could see just how like my writing has developed and like maybe in what ways it
Mhm.
has always like remained the same.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think especially because it's short form content, I had
Mhm.
to find ways to really like get the message across and
Mhm.
and like really throw those punches
Mhm.
for like people to feel it because sometimes it's hard to develop a character with short form content that
Mhm.
people feel and like can relate to because things are happening so quickly.
Yeah.
And you'll see like people are like, "Oh, it's not long enough. It's not long enough."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I know y'all, I know, but I'm
Make it
trying.
enough.
I'm
Make it
making enough
enough.
because and that's what I'm like the lines that are there have
Mhm.
to really hit. Have to have a huge impact
Mhm.
because I need people to feel this, even if it's 60 seconds or if it's 11 minutes.
Mhm.
I need you to feel what I'm saying. I need you
Yeah.
to feel what Ryan is going through.
I think that's what really highlights your talent because it's like, hey, this is what you're working with, and you pack
Mhm,
it's like them what's the face? Them sandwiches that
mhm,
Shaggy and Scooby be eating. It'll be having all them layers. You be packing it in. Like, and it just shows why, like, while your talent, like it's exceptional and why, according to Ryan, is
mhm,
hitting the numbers and reaching the people that it is.
mhm.
So with all that like skill and creativity, like are there any other like projects or stories that you're passionate about exploring in the future? So either within the According to Ron universe, so we already talked about all the different ways that you could potentially see that going, or
Mhm.
beyond.
I mean, absolutely. As I stated earlier, animation was never like something I thought I'd touch, and honestly, television either.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I absolutely, I would love to just write feature films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more feature film leaning. That's never gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really just a true lover of film. And although I do love a good TV show, film is where like my real passion lies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm absolutely working on some scripts that, I really hold dear to me. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully one day those will be on the big screen somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, also as I said, there's limitless possibilities with According to Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different ways that, she could go. And season 2 has a lot of good things coming. So, which premieres in August. So yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless, honestly. But yeah, I'm working on some feature film scripts right now.
Mm-hmm.
And just season 2 of According to Ryan, and we'll see how it continues to grow.
That's awesome. And August is literally like right there. It's at the door.
I know.
It's
I
on the
know.
steps. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And I see your name in lights. Like
Mhm,
not even like the Taina theme song, like I
mhm.
really see it. And I just can't wait because I definitely will be that person. Like I knew her. Like I went to elementary school with her. I need you to know this. Okay. Like you need to know. Like I can't. I brag about you all the time. I brag about your show. I be sharing. I'm like, hey, you might like
Mhm,
this. I think you're gonna like this. Watch
mhm.
this. Thank you very much. Make sure to like and share and subscribe to her
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Like,
And I appreciate that so much. Like, and that's another, I'm really trying to like push a lot of my followers to YouTube.
mm-hmm.
I think, YouTube is like the long form content platform
Yeah.
that it's never gonna go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as much as I love TikTok, you just don't know what the future holds for TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Pushing my followers to YouTube is a main goal of like season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly, I don't even know if people remember this platform. It was called Quibi. Kevin Hart had like promoted it. It was like it had to be like 2018, 2019. It was like
Okay.
right before the pandemic hit. It
Okay.
was a short form like streaming service. And
Okay.
there was mad shows on it. They were so good and they were like no longer than 10 minutes. They
Okay.
were it was so good, and I just think that it was way ahead of its time and ended
Yeah.
up like crashing and burning.
Oh,
But it was way ahead of its time. It was celebrities on there with like short form shows,
okay.
like, and I'm like, they were amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but it crashed and burned. It came right at the time, like right before the pandemic. I think
Okay.
it launched in 2019.
Okay.
And after that, it was just,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's like TikTok. It was like TikTok, but it was actual shows with actual
Okay.
actors and things. And somehow, some way they need to bring that back. Like that would be the
Yeah.
most perfect like platform for like an According to Orion type of show. But yeah, just trying to transition my followers to YouTube. That's something
Mhm.
that I'm really trying to focus on in season two, giving them the best that I got. So
I love that. And Queeby, if you're listening anywhere, come back specifically
please,
for According to Ryan. You can use that as
please.
the success to, but hey,
Hmm.
if you're looking for short form content, you're looking for quality short form content.
Yeah, I got you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're gonna see that. It's realizing like even with all this stuff, everything that we talked about, just the timing, like how
Hmm.
important timing is. And if you stay prepared, you don't ever have to then scramble to get ready. And it's like
Right.
people stay on your grind, stay on your grind. And it'll just be that. What was it? What did they say about luck? Like preparation meets something, and then it hits right at the right moment. I'm butchering
Yeah.
that phrase, but I'll put it in
I know
post.
what you talk about. We're here.
Thank you. So I'm like words. I don't know. I'm just here, existing, reading a script. Stop making me think off the top of my head. But kind of, I want to ask this, like to close us out, to ask this last question. What's
Hmm.
been the most rewarding aspect of creating According to Ryan? And conversely, what's been the most challenging part of maintaining a consistent animated series on TikTok?
I would say that the most rewarding part has been seeing how deeply people connect with Ryan.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, as we talked about, it kind of blew up over a weekend. And when viewers, especially Black women, say things like, this feels like my life, or
Mhm.
I didn't even know I needed this story, it reminds me why I started.
Mhm.
I love knowing that something I created really resonates with people who are navigating their own transitions. I just, I love it. It's heartwarming. Um, and I'm glad that I was able to create something that feels like home for a lot of people in a
Mhm.
sense. And I think the most challenging part is definitely the consistency. Animation takes time,
Mhm.
a lot of time and money.
Mhm.
And, even short episodes require so much planning, from writing to voice work to the visuals. And, TikTok moves fast.
Yeah.
So balancing the creative process with the platform's pace has been a learning curve, to say the least. But I think I've learned to focus on quality and building a world people want to keep coming back to, even if it means moving like a little bit slower sometimes.
I think that's important, especially one, the quality, but then having people keep coming back. And
Hmm.
so I just want to kind of give you the time to shout out all the different platforms that they can find,
Hmm.
according to Ryan, and really get in there and catch up so they're prepared when season two hits.
Yes, absolutely. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at According to Ryan series. And I'm sure that'll be tagged somewhere. But yeah, According to Ryan series at TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. And you can catch up on the first season. We have all 10 episodes up. We have special content like our closet confessionals. So all of the cute outfits that you see Ryan wearing during the season, you'll be able to find outfit deets there. And yeah, season 2 will premiere mid to late August. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow us on TikTok and Instagram. And I just look forward to bringing you guys more content from According to Ryan.